I'm a 36-year-old man, married for 4 years, and we don't have kids. Last month, my wife went to her friend's wedding, and since she got back, she's been acting strange. My mind is racing with thoughts, and I feel guilty for suspecting her without any real reason. But I also don't want to ignore the red flags. I've been following similar stories online for a while, and I'm worried my situation might be like the cheating posts I've read. Here's some background. My wife's friend was getting married in the countryside. I was invited as her plus one, but I couldn't go because of work. I wasn't too excited about going anyway since I'm not close to this friend. She's a work friend of my wife's, and I've only met her a few times at work parties. But my wife said she was close to her and didn't want to miss the wedding. After she came back from the wedding, she's been acting distant and cold. When I asked her what was wrong, she just said it was work-related stress. Piled up work due to wedding leaves. I understand that stress. But it's been over a month now, and she's still giving cold shoulders. I don't know if this should matter, but we had sex only twice in this entire period. That too only when I initiated and insisted. Honestly, I felt like I was forcing her, so after that, I stopped getting intimate with her. I have asked her many times if she wanted to talk about it, but she just doesn't open up. All this is so scary. I snooped on her phone, but didn't find anything suspicious. I'm just so annoyed at her gaslighting. She's not telling anything, and neither is she behaving normally. God knows what she's up to. I also don't know how to address this situation. I have done everything possible. Talking, giving her the time, ignoring, and even snooping on her phone and laptop. Anyone facing this situation? Any advice for me on how you have tackled such a passive-aggressive situation? Thanks much in advance. Update 1. Thanks for all the suggestions. Some of you commented that maybe she was angry at me for something and was acting passive-aggressive. I couldn't think of anything which would have upset her. Also, she's usually vocal about her feelings and doesn't give silent treatment. I had already confronted her many times before my first post. I was not very keen on talking to her again, but I swallowed my pride and asked her if she was mad at me for anything. She said no. Why do I ask? I asked if she was mad that I didn't make it to her friend's wedding because she had been acting all weird after returning from the wedding. She said nothing as such. She was just tired and stressed because of the work. It went on for another couple of months. Her mood swings have been on and off during this time. Sometimes I thought things were getting back to normal, but then we'd go back to square one. I talked to my friends about it, and they said it was probably just a phase that would pass. So I started ignoring it and focused more on my work and well-being. Last week, I found out why she's been acting this way. It happened at her office's annual function. I've gone with her every year, but this time she didn't want to take me. The event usually happens the week before Thanksgiving. At the start of November, I asked her several times if we'd received the invitation, but she kept saying no. I had no idea what she was planning. She told me about the venue and dress code. When I saw the email, it came weeks ago. She said she missed the email. Anyways, she was not at all enthusiastic about attending the event and was looking for ways to skip the function. But her hesitance made me suspicious, and I insisted that we attend. The party was going great, and everyone was very normal with me. No red flags, but my wife was too guarded. She wasn't enjoying it at all. She didn't leave me alone with anyone. Usually, that's never the case. She uses that opportunity to hang out with senior officials of the company while I chit-chat with her colleagues and juniors. But this time, she didn't leave me even for a moment. The friend whose wedding I mentioned at the start of this thread also showed up with her husband. I spoke to them and apologized for not being able to make it to the wedding. They were cool, and it was also normal. As the party progressed, that friend's husband got drunk and spilled the beans. He was like, "Oh man, you should have been there at our wedding. Your wife was looking so ravishing and twerking like a mermaid." My friends went crazy for her. and my best man asks for her number even to this day. He had such a good time with her. Before he could say anything, his wife pulled him away. She said he was too drunk and didn't know what he was speaking, and nothing such had happened at the wedding. I could have let it slide if Brenda, my wife, didn't behave this way after returning from the wedding. Even when her colleague's husband was speaking, she intervened him multiple times, changing the topic. Finally, when he went nonstop, she called her friend who was talking to others at that time, and she dragged her husband away. If this was not a red flag, then nothing is. Not only me, but her other colleagues and their spouses who were present in that conversation also understood what was going on. They were smirking and rolling their eyes at each other. I excused myself and went aside. It was so embarrassing for me. Soon after, I saw Brenda's friend leaving the party with her husband, who was almost passed out. Brenda came over to me and acted like everything was normal. I gave her a look, hoping she'd explain what had just happened. She said, "Did you see how drunk he was? Do you think he was in any condition to tell the truth?" She lied and twisted the situation again. Brenda was drunk too. I'm not sure if she was really drunk or just pretending to avoid talking. I waited until the next day. But she tried to avoid me, and I didn't have the patience for her behavior anymore. I told her that I have a feeling that she has cheated at her friend's wedding, so instead of avoiding or lying about it, better she come clean on this and confess. I grabbed her phone. She tried snatching it, but I opened the conversation with her friend, and there she was rebuking her friend's big-mouthed husband for exposing her. I'm sure she would have changed the password that day, but she was caught off guard. Even after all this, she was lying that her friend's husband was just drunk. After hours of yelling and victim playing, she finally put her guard down. She said it was just a one-time thing, and she was so smashed that when the groomsmen made a move, she wasn't able to control herself. Pissed me off so badly that I punched the table and hurt myself. My anger was not only because she had cheated on me, but she had been gaslighting the situation all this while. She said it was her guilt that she was behaving this way. If it was guilt, she should have behaved her best and strengthened our relationship instead of avoiding me. Her face disgusted me, and I wasn't able to bear her anymore. I took my phone, iPad, and left the house. She didn't call or text me, but yesterday, which was 2 days post-Y Day, she texted, "Where are you? When you'll be home? How long will you take to cool down? Sorry," and all that guilt-tripping stuff. I've been living with my friend since that day, and the thought of going back to her makes me giddy. I don't know what next would I do, but right now I'm not in a good state of mind. Update 2. I've decided to divorce Brenda because I found out more information. Here's what happened since my last update. I stayed with my friend for a few more days. Brenda texted and called, asking me to come home, but I didn't reply. Honestly, I wasn't sure what to do next. My friend suggested I talk to the husband of Brenda's friend who had revealed some information. I found him on social media and texted him, requesting a meeting. At first, he tried to cover up and apologized for the misunderstanding. He said he was drunk, so I shouldn't take him seriously. I told Brenda has confessed to cheating, and I really want to talk to him. I requested him not to tell this to his wife or Brenda. He agreed. I asked him for the details about that day. Initially, he was reluctant, but seeing my condition, he told me everything. So it came out that my darling wife had cheated on me, not once but multiple times in those 2 days of the wedding event. And it was not a heat-of-the-moment thing. She was seen with the groomsmen all throughout the 2 days, hanging out, dancing and flirting, and they both escaped most parts of the wedding functions and were put up in their hotel room. Their closeness at the wedding was obvious to everyone, and people even thought they were a couple. I asked the husband if it was true that his friend had asked for Brenda's number, and he said yes. His friend was really flirting with her, and when my wife didn't give her number, he insisted she take his and call him when she was free. And that friend still stands by what he said. I'm devastated, to say the least. This is the person I trusted with my life. I've blocked her everywhere and have filed for divorce. I haven't spoken to her in the last 15 days, and I don't want to see her. She's tried contacting me through her colleagues, but I've avoided them all. I feel like I've been betrayed and thrown away. All my love and feelings are gone now, but I'll survive this and move on. Second story. So, I 19F had been dating my boyfriend, Ryan 21M, for almost 2 years. We met through friends at a party, and we got along really well. He was funny and charming, and we had a lot in common. Things moved quickly between us, and we even started talking about moving in together. But recently, things started to feel strange. Ryan was spending more time at work, or at least that's what he told me. He'd come home late, saying he had to finish a project or go out with his coworkers. I wanted to trust him, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. One night, he said he'd be working late again, but he didn't come home at all. I was really worried, calling and texting him, but he didn't respond until the next morning. He said he'd fallen asleep at a friend's place after drinking too much. I wanted to believe him, but I still felt uneasy. A few days later, I was at his place and saw his laptop open on the kitchen table. I know it wasn't right, but I decided to check it. I found messages between him and another woman named Kayla. They weren't just talking about work, they were saying how much they missed each other and couldn't wait to see each other again. My heart sank. When Ryan got home, I confronted him. He tried to deny it at first, but when I showed him the messages, he admitted he'd been seeing her for a few months. He said it started as a fling, but had turned into something more. I was shocked. I had no idea this was happening. I packed my things and left. I couldn't stay there after finding out. It's been a few weeks now, and I'm still trying to make sense of it all. I thought I knew him, but I guess I was wrong. Now I'm just trying to figure out how to move on.